Welcome to Hearth and Wild. Settle in, grab a cuppa, and enjoy this tale woven just for you. Greetings, friends. Today we have the reimagined tale of Lilith and the Desert Well, a myth for the women who walked away and the memory that made them whole. They never tell the full story, do they? They say Lilith was the first woman, but not that she was the first to choose herself. They say she left Aidan, but not what it cost her to walk away. They do not speak of what followed, the silence, the heat, the long ache of being right, but completely alone. She left not in fury, but with clarity, not because she hated love, but because she knew what love was not. The desert did not welcome her. There was no firelight waiting, no gods to bless her exile, just the long silence and a sky too wide to hold. And that's where it came. Not a beast with scales, not a thing to slay, but something colder, quieter. It did not roar. It whispered, "You made a mistake. You are not real without him. No one will remember your name." It wrapped around her like a second skin, the shadow of despair. It moved with her, ate with her, slept in the hollow of her throat. And for a time, she almost listened. She almost turned back. She almost made herself small enough to be welcomed again. But then, she did something simple. She knelt, pressed her hands into the dust, and dug. Not because she believed she'd find water, but because she refused to vanish, and it was from the dust that she had been made after all. Her fingers bled, the shadow hissed, but still she dug, because there had to be a place in this world where a woman could be whole and still belong. And when the well opened, it wasn't just water that rose. It was memory. It was the names of the forgotten. It was a song the garden had never let her sing. I was the one who said no. I was the lover who would not kneel. I was the midwife of the unwanted child. I was the voice they called mad. I was the prophet that no one would hear. They came from caves, from kitchens, from kingdoms afar. Women with no altars, women with burnt books, women whose prayers had never found a sky soft enough to answer. They came to the well, and Lilith, she remembered each name, spoke it aloud, carved it in the sand with fingers still cracked, and the desert memorized them, not in ink, in wind, in flame. Lilith did not slay a dragon. She let it speak, and in speaking it lost its power, because once she remembered who she was, the shadow could not unmake her. So come, bring your exile, bring your ache, bring the silence you were told to wear like a veil. The well is real, not in Aidan, but here, now, beyond obedience, beyond shame, in the open hands of a woman who walked into the desert and chose to become. There is water here for ones who were never meant to survive, and there is memory for names they tried to burn. But not all who came to the well were ready to drink. Some came just to sit, to remember, to weep for the selves they had buried beneath years of shoulds. Some came to scream, to curse the gods who watched and said nothing. And she, Lilith, did not flinch. She knew holy rage when she heard it. She knew grief that had no language. She knew what it meant to carry both wound and weapon in the same soul. There are stories, quiet ones, that say she walks the desert still. Not young, not old, just eternal, made of ash and breath and song. The kind of woman who cannot be killed because she no longer waits for permission to live. And when the daughters of the daughters of the daughters arrive, dragging their shame like iron, hiding their brilliance behind silence, half afraid to name what they want, she does not ask them to explain. She simply cups their face in her cracked, dust-lined hands and says, I know. You made it. That is enough. Because there are no miracles at the well. Only memory, only water, only a woman who stayed. And sometimes that is the most sacred thing of all. Stay, even when they forget your name. Stay, even when the wind howls too much. Stay, even when the shadow returns. Dig anyway, drink anyway, rise anyway, because this world still needs the ones who remember who they were before the forgetting began. Thanks for listening, friends. If this tale stirred something in you, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to share.